TESOL trainers, we are your scaffold to success. Hi folks, Dr. John Kongsvik here. I'm the director of TESOL trainers. We're education consultants. We work with K-12 schools all over the world that serve English learners. And whether you take our professional development workshops, our phenomenal peer coaching program, the courses, or the content we teach, it's our number one job to help you make teaching and learning more effective and more efficient, especially for the multi-language learners you serve. Now, today I'm going to talk to you about integrating the four domains of language. And in this presentation, I'd like to share with you what integrating the four domains of language is, why you should be doing it in your classroom, and how it can look by giving you a couple of concrete examples. So let's start with the what. Folks, integrating the four domains of language is a fancy way of saying in one lesson, finding ways to get students to speak, listen, read, and write the content and the language of the class you're teaching. Now, there are four domains of language, or the four skills as you may know them by, and they're right over here: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Those are four ways that we interact with language. Now, we can divide these up into a couple of categories to help us make sense of what each one of these is. We've got productive skills like speaking and listening. They're used to produce the language. We also have receptive skills, reading and listening, used to receive language. Now, it can be really beneficial to us as educators to realize that two of these skills are productive and two of these skills are receptive. There's a couple of reasons how this can benefit from us. Number one, it may help better with the design and delivery of lessons. If I know how to teach reading, the chances are I've got a leg up on how to teach listening, since the brain interacts with both content in very similar ways. The second reason is it can help me understand the English learners, and for that matter, all of the learners I'm working with, and where they may tend to be strong and where their challenges might lie. And the third thing is it can help me become more adept and proficient at integrating those four skills in one lesson or even one activity. So folks, why is it so important for us to think about ways to integrate speaking, listening, reading, and writing in a lesson or an activity? Well, there's a whole host of reasons right here above me. The first thing is it does boost comprehension. If I'm able to read something, listen to something, speak it, and maybe even write it, the chances are I'm going to understand it a little deeper, a little better. It does improve engagement. In fact, it also strengthens the four skills. Most of us aren't really strong in all four. We may have our strengths, we may have our challenges, and integrating the four domains of language doesn't turn any student off because they don't like A or B, but it gives them a chance perhaps to use their strengths to develop new ones. And the fourth reason is it raises confidence and competence. And I don't know about you, but those are two critical ingredients to learning and achievement. So how can you go about it in the classroom? Well, there's 1,001 ways we can do it. Let me give you two concrete examples right now. The first one is with something like blackout bingo. Let's say we are in a history class and we're talking about Mansa Musa, that great Malian king in the 14th century. And maybe we read something on it. We even watched a video about Mansa Musa. We may have discussed it a little bit afterwards, either as a class or in groups. And at some point, I hand my students out this bingo sheet. You could have 6, you could have 9 things on it. And the goal is for the students to stand up, find a partner, ask them a question, listen to what they're saying, and write the information down. So We've got Juan Carlos. He walks over to Amanda and says, Amanda, what was Mansa Musa known for? Amanda says, well, Mansa Musa united the Malian Empire and actually tripled its size. Juan Carlos writes it down. Amanda maybe says, well, let me ask you the same question, Juan Carlos. What was Mansa Musa known for? And Juan Carlos says, well, Mansa Musa actually was responsible for building so many universities and mosques. He urbanized the country of Mali. And again, Amanda's listening to her friend, writing that information down. Students go from learner to learner, asking and answering questions, writing the information down that their peers say. This is a real simple way to integrate the 4 domains of language. They've got to speak, they've got to listen, they've got to read, and they've got to write. And I might even cap it off by having my students write me some sort of an excerpt or maybe even a letter sharing with me what they learned about this great Malian king. Now, let's say you don't teach history, you teach science. And you and your students just talked about these 2 Lepidoptera, butterflies, and moths. And you read something about their similarities and their differences. Maybe you viewed a video comparing and contrasting the 2. After doing all that, again, maybe you discuss it, think, pair, share, small groups. You decide as a teacher to create this carousel. And you say, students, look around the room. Right over here in this corner, here's a flip chart piece of paper. It says, what characteristics do butterflies and moths share? Right down here, we've got what are characteristics that are unique to butterflies. Over here, what characteristics are unique to moths? And up here, what did you learn about butterflies and moths? You divide your students up into groups. They go over, they read the question, they talk about it a little bit, they write down an answer, and they move to another station. Maybe this time they even read what other groups have written there. What a fabulous way to integrate the 4 domains of language in one lesson, and as I demonstrated here too, in one activity too. Folks, integrating the 4 domains of language can be a powerful way to connect students to not just the language, the content, and one another as well. There are many benefits for me to do it for myself as an educator. Think engaging my students a little more profoundly in the lesson, and for my students, giving them a chance to develop confidence and competence with the language and the content. Teachers, you can visit www.tsoltrainers.com for more information on this. And you can also check out our English Learner Institute, especially if you want to see multiple ways of integrating the 4 domains of language across the curriculum. This is a phenomenal remote course. It's full of PSYOP strategies, TESOL techniques, practical tips and tools you can use the very next day in your classroom. My name is Dr. John Kongsvik. I'm the director of TESOL Trainers, and we are your scaffold to success. Visit us at www.tsoltrainers.com for more information on how we can help you take teaching and learning to the next level.